Yo dog, Kenny Boucher here, Next Level Painting, hitting you up with a twofer. Got 2 tutorials this week. Haven't done this before, but we are committed to 4, maybe 5 videos a week here. And Rob has been doing some stuff behind the scenes, Beat Laboratory, Mixmaster, Eldar Release, keeping this website afloat. So I decided to step up and give you guys early part 2 to the Thunderwolf Cavalry. Today we're gonna start in on the riders. They're very difficult and very detailed, and Space Wolves are almost obnoxious to paint sometimes, but they are one of the coolest looking models in the game. So I look forward to showing you guys how I do this, how the next level painting process goes. Thank you, veterans. Thank you, everybody. Without further ado, let's jump right into this. Let's do this. Part 3, painting Thunderwolf Cavalry. We're doing the riders today. Of course, I'm using the most exciting blue in the game, the most electrifying blue in the business, Arcane Blue. And we're coming in with a super simple highlight, 45-degree angle, nothing special here. The special thing to note is that the models are already painted a neutral blue. That's because I used a primer that was the color of the model. It's an ancient Chinese technique. It's old as time. I went to armypainter.com and I bought a primer that was called Wolf Gray, which is basically the color that I wanted to paint these guys. So I saved literally 1 billion seconds. Now that we've already done the first highlight, we can do the second highlight. We're talking mixing a little bit of Vallejo Air White with Arcane Blue. This is one of my favorite tricks to making that blue pop. It makes it look like pure electricity. Come in a little bit more detailed than you did on the first step, but you don't have to go too crazy just yet because this is all pre-wash highlighting. You guessed it. The next step is washing. We're going to do a custom wash, which is basically GW black with GW blue. Mix them together 50-50 approximately. I mean, I'm not a scientist. Come on thick. Do not water down the wash. I know a lot of people online write articles about how you need to cut the wash water. Just don't do it. It's not part of the next level technique. You want that wash to be thick because you want that wash to get into the deepest recesses of the model. But one of the dangers here is that it might pull up on you. You're going to want to start at the top, let it drain to the bottom, and as it does that, you're going to wick it away from the model so it doesn't pull up anywhere. This process takes about 90 seconds a model. Obviously, that's a little long, but trust me, it's worth it. As you can see, I'm just going through. I'm going to show you here in a couple of models. Just so you see the technique takes as long as I say. I know a lot of people try to cut around it, but this is probably one of the most iconic things that I do. When people see my stuff online and like, how did you do that? It's this. This is the technique, and nobody ever thinks that this is the technique because of the airbrush. And obviously the airbrush is center stage, but it's all about what you do. It's all in the details. And this is one of the tricks. This trick is as old as time. I didn't invent this. You know, this is day one, masterclass stuff that everyone keeps as a trade secret and they don't want to tell anyone about. But GW did this thing many years ago when they made washes so that regular people could do this. But no one's ever put out a tutorial on it. The next step, we're going to use pale blue from the Vallejo Air as usual, and we're going to come in and begin the final highlights. Now this is obviously only after you've let everything dry and you seal coated it at least one time. Come in with this super precise highlighting. This is post-wash highlighting we're talking about here. A perfect Zenthio highlight on the backpack. a perfect radial highlight on his chest, a perfect zenithal highlight on his shield. And of course, you come down to the greaves and you work from the bottom up where the light would reflect. And a lot of people don't think about it that way. They just want to do top down, which is zenithal in the whole model. That is not what is accurate. And also, it doesn't look as good. It is what you do with essentially a can of spray paint. We didn't buy this airbrush to do that. I'm going to go through and do this on a couple of extra models. And while that's happening, let me just tell you this. One of the first mistakes people make when they buy an airbrush is they get lazy. Don't do it. If you save 2 hours of airbrushing and that would normally take you 3 or 4 hours, don't just say, hey, now I'm done. Take those 2 hours and put them into the detail work, because that is what's going to define your paint job, not the exciting airbrush, which is obviously going to be a theme of your paint job. The definition of good painting is details. I'm going to jump in on the Iron Priest. Now, these are some of my favorite models. These are heavily converted. My brother at No Turtles Allowed made these, David. And he did a great job, as you can see. He converted the head, gave him those thunder hammers, and wait till you see the servo harnesses in the next video. It's going to blow your mind how he made those. And I'm coming in the same way. And these guys have a different head, so that's why I'm showing you this. They have that helmet that looks like an actual wolf. So you're going to want to hit those at more unique angles. And you can see I'm coming kind of from the back to the front, so it can skitter down all those ridges on his helmet. And next, I'm going to hit the Lords. And Lords are super difficult because Lords typically have 1 billion fashion accessories, as far as I can tell. And they get in the way of the airbrush. So you can only do so much with the airbrush here. It's going to have to be the paintbrush that really drives home these amazing characters. You're going to have to remember how to use a paintbrush after all these years. Let's jump on to the next step here, guys. Details. I'm going with Gun Gray. This is obviously one of the best metals there is. It's a really solid neutral metallic. It is essentially the equivalent to bolt gun metal from GW, but it goes on so smooth. I can't even tell you that there's so much irony in the fact that this airbrush ready paintbrushes so much better than any other paintbrush paint I've ever seen. It's crazy, but it is what it is. Take advantage of it while it exists. Come through and and don't slather it on, but be generous with the application here, because we are going to watch this later. But don't go crazy. Like, it's easy to get in the habit of just, turning your brain off, listening to your music, and just going super fast. If you do that, what'll happen is you're going to, send little microscopic flecks of paint into all areas of your model, and you're not going to see them until the light catches them just right. So you might be done with the model, seal coating those little flecks of paint in, and all of a sudden it looks like somebody put glitter on your model and you can't get the glitter off. I'm speaking from experience. It has happened to me, and it is very sad. I even have a tear rolling down my right cheek right now as I'm talking about it. Coming back into the Lord. These guys have the most amount of details. That's why I'm kind of spending some time on these guys. And you can just see how much stuff they have. All the pipes, all the tubes. The thunder hammer is gigantic. This, what is it called? It looks like to me a lucky wolf's foot attached to a chicken bone. I don't even know what to call that thing. But it is one of the many things in the Space Wolf box that I hate to paint, but they look so cool in the game. Jumping onto the Iron Priests, who also have thunder hammers that are oversized. And of course, they have those servo arms that are super amazing that I'm going to show you guys soon. But not today. Of course, Iron Priests are one of the best things in the Space Wolf Codex right now, especially if you take the Company of the Great Wolf. So expect to see me painting these guys in groups of 3 from now on. Let's move on to one of my favorite colors of all time, Molten Bronze. I use this as my gold. Don't get too caught up in the fact that it's called bronze. Bronze is basically dark gold. And I just love it. It's one of the thickest, most easy to apply golds in the business. Especially after you wash it, you highlight it. It just has that really good antique look. Like, it looks like it's been used. Love it. Can't say enough good things about it. I'll even run this thing through an airbrush. It's not easy though. I might do a whole separate video on how to put this thing in the airbrush. But as you can see, they're coming out pretty good. Details are all pretty much set in stone, just the metallics. This is just part 1 of the Riders, part 3 of the series. I have a lot more here coming soon. I'll see you guys next time. All right, guys, thanks for watching that video. The Long War, exclusive access. You get early opportunities to see hobby videos like the one you just saw, but even more. We got battle reports, assembly guides, and early access. We got the webcast now. We got a lot of things to look forward to. And right here, you get it a week early. If you're watching this on YouTube for the first time and you just sat through a billion ads, somebody got to watch this video a week ago with no ads. Ad-free experience, week early, $5.99 a month, but you can try it for a week for free. Head over to thelongwar.net. Start your week for free today. Super simple. Bringing hobby back. Let me touch on that for just 1 second. Bringing hobby back is about taking the billion hours that I've been painting models, the 1,000 million hours that Rob's been, building and painting models too. Instead of doing one model for somebody or an army for somebody, that linear progression is dead to us. We're trying to reach as many people as we can with our techniques. This hobby is kind of elusive to people. It's got a lot of elements, a lot of layers. We're trying to just show you how to do it, how to bring it up, how to boost up, how to not sit there and buy the coolest models you've ever seen and build them and be super sad that there's gaps in them, or build them and fill the gaps and then start painting the models and realize you're not equipped to paint them the way you envision them in your mind. I'm trying to show you guys how to do that in my way. And my way is not always the best way, but it is a way. And I am trying to help bring hobby back in that particular order. Build a model, paint a model, play a model. That's what the Long War is about. But we're just trying to help people not get intimidated or overwhelmed by how many layers there are in this hobby. I'll tell you what, I'm the first guy to sit there and spend a billion hours fantasizing about army before I even bought my first model. I mean, building, painting, and playing is such a small part of this hobby when you really think about what our connection to this is. It's a social game, first of all. It's a thinker's game. It's a math game. But eventually it is a game. We do get to play our toy soldiers on the battlefield. I'm just trying to help. Rob's trying to help, and Juice trying to help bring hobby back. And all of you guys on the Long War and the Hall of Veterans, you guys are making this a reality. Enough of all of that. Thank you guys for watching this video. Play on, players.